a quick review of inequalities. This is read as x is less than or equal to. Here we have x is less than, x is greater than or equal to, that's that line, and x is greater than. When we graph these, if it has the or equals, we graph that with a closed dot. And if it does not, we graph it with an open dot. Here's what those look like for each of these graphs. X is less than or equal to, closed dot, strictly less than, open dot. And then we just shade on the graph for whichever direction x is. Remember, on the number line, left is always smaller and right is always bigger. Now, translating inequalities into interval notation. Interval notation is always written from our minimum up to our maximum. And then we use different kinds of brackets depending on whether the number at the end is included or not. So if it is included, we use those square brackets, and that's for closed dot pictures. If it is not included, we're going to use round brackets or parentheses for those open dots. And if we have an arrow, we are going to use round. That's because these arrows are for infinity. And infinity is not like a number that could be included in the interval. It's really like a concept that, x could go as large as you could possibly imagine. So we can't include infinity, so it always has a round dot, round bracket, excuse me. So looking at these, this is the graph, remember, for x is less than or equal to 5. And looking from our smallest to our biggest, that's shaded in here, 5 is my biggest number, and my smallest is an arrow, which means there really isn't a smallest. It goes down forever. We're going to put negative infinity, because the numbers I could put in for x are everything from 5 down forever. So we're going to put in a round bracket on negative infinity, as we always do. This is our minimum. X is our maximum. Since 5 has a closed dot, we're going to use that square bracket. Okay? On this one, when we have the open dot, this was x is less than 5. It's almost exactly the same, except 5 gets a round bracket now because x could be as close to 5 as you could possibly imagine. It could be 4.999999999, but it can't be 5. Here we have the graph for x is greater than or equal to 5. Again, from our minimum to my maximum, 5 is my smallest number. I have no maximum. It's an arrow. It's going forever. So this is infinity. And since 5 is filled, we're going to do a square bracket, and infinity always gets a round bracket. For x is strictly greater than 5, so similar, but we have a round bracket on 5 because 5 is not included. So that's how we go from these inequalities to intervals, and really you can go back and forth between them. So let's look at a couple. Before we do that, this is just a nice screenshot. Save it if you want. You can see that this open dot and this round bracket means, 1 is not included. A filled dot and a square bracket means 1 is included. And they mix and match, right? You can see we have 1 is included, but 1's included and 5 is not. Or they could both be open or both be closed. So just quick practice with this. If x is less than 8, that means 8 is the biggest possible number I could have. I'm remembering I'm going from my min to my max. And x could be anything smaller than 8. So I don't really have a minimum. It's negative infinity. It goes forever. Since this was strictly less than, it didn't have the or equals to, this is a round bracket. Another thing you can do, if it helps you, is draw the graph first and use that graph to help you do your interval. Here I've got x is in between -3 and 5. So -3 is my min and 5 is my max. And now let's see what's included. -3 is not included, round bracket. 5 is included, square bracket. My graph of this would look like round or open, closed, and shade in between. X is greater than 4. That means 4 is my smallest possible number. And I have no biggest possible number, goes to infinity. Since it was or equal to, this is going to be a square bracket for 4. And always a round bracket on infinity. That's how we do interval notation for inequalities.